Regarding language to use, you also need as much variety as possible here, which means you need to use a variety of adjectives and nouns or verbs and adverbs as in these examples. Let's look at these in more detail. Firstly, if you're using adjectives and nouns, the structure of the sentence would start with, for example, we can see a, or there was a, or there is a, plus an adjective and a noun. The choice of the adjective and noun depends on what's happening in the graph. If it's going up quickly, you could say, there is a rapid or dramatic or sharp, and then a noun such as rise or growth or expansion. If it's noticeable but not that big, then you could use a substantial or a significant rise, growth or expansion. If it's only small, then use a small or a slight rise. Remember always to provide data as well. So say what it was in the beginning and what it rose or fell to. So for example, you could say there was a dramatic rise from 10 to 88%. If, on the other hand, the data given is falling, then use any of the following combinations in the same way as above. So if there's only a little drop, then just say we can see a small or a slight fall, drop or decline, and so on for noticeable ones and big ones. As mentioned before, you also need a combination of verbs and adverbs. But you can still use exactly the same words as for nouns and adjectives, just in verb-adverb form. So the adjectives would become adverbs and the nouns would become verbs. So here you would put the subject first and then the verb and adverb. So for example, the percentage of patients, which would be your subject, grew dramatically. And the same would happen for data showing a downward trend, as in these examples. Again, using exactly the same language as for adjectives and nouns, but converted into verbs and adverbs. You also may need to talk about a highest point reached, where you can say, for example, to reach a peak, or to peak at, or to reach its lowest point for the opposite. If after, on the other hand, some movement, it then stays still, you can say to remain stable or constant, or to reach a plateau, or even to stabilize at. Also, some very important verbs you could use, which do not use an adverb with them and mean dramatically, are to soar, to surge, to rocket for going up, and to crush, to plummet or to plunge for going down. So you could say the percentage of tourists rocketed to 90, or the number of times people consumed coffee crashed to 8. Finally, you can also talk about an upward or downward trend if the data generally goes up or generally goes down, for example, although there may be some fluctuation. Use there was a fluctuation, or we can see a fluctuation, for general up and down without an overall upward or downward movement. Also, don't forget to provide plenty of data. So say the data shows an upward-downward trend from, for example, 5% to 9%.